Picture a gleaming, whitewashed Spanish village perched atop a hill, serving some of this country's best food.
Best mashed potatoes I've ever had. Sorry, Mum.
From fresh seafood, often eaten raw, in world-class sushi.
It's all very fresh,
very clean,
and good,
fresh,
clean food.
And pungent ingredients brought centuries ago by the Moors. Welcome to Vejer de la Frontera, a gourmet town where the locals take fierce pride in their food, history, and identity. Today, I'm diving into everything this place has to offer. And leading the way is Annie B.
Hello, Annie.
James, hi.
Great to see you.
A Scottish chef come guide who came to the province of Cadiz years ago looking for a beachside home. Instead, she found what may be this country's most delicious village.
Thank you for coming to my favourite little roadside cafe.
A little truck stop to start the day. Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited about today. I suspect I'm going to eat a lot. I've heard about Annie's cooking classes and tours, and it's very gourmet. So.
And the good thing is you're going to make my late lunch afterwards.
Oh, very good, very good. We're going to be eating at restaurants, we're eating at Annie's place. It's going to be epic. So, should we kick off with breakfast?
Yes, let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Annie runs small group culinary holidays and gastronomic adventures in southern Spain and beyond. And today she's sharing the best of her adopted town with me through restaurants, tapas bars, market stalls, and local vendors. And we'll end the day cooking mouth-watering dishes in her kitchen, dining in the twilight with views of where the Atlantic and the Mediterranean meet. But first, we start at the bottom of the hill at a 200-year-old truck stop.
So guys, this is Aenta that Annie's brought us to. Aenta is like a roadside inn, right? These are just truck stops, I guess you could say in a way.
They are. But you get some of the best food in Spain at these truck stops, well certainly in Andalusia.
And I read about this place that it has 400 years of history and it's been in the same family for generations. And thinking back, you can look on the website and see old photos of this place from turn of the century and older. And it's still going. And back in the day, I guess people coming to Vejer would have stopped here before climbing the hill, stayed the night, refreshed their animals, and it's still going.
It's still going.
One of the things I love in Spain is the saucers all lined up. I love those. As they serve so much coffee. These places are so efficient that it's just all the saucers lined up, ready to go. They just drop the coffee on it. The lottery guy who's here, it's kind of like a public square in a way. People coming and going. Wonderful energy. I didn't have breakfast intentionally, Annie, because I knew we were probably having a serious breakfast. Gracias.
Gracias.
Obviously, I got the big bread here. Okay, so we've got 3 different spreads here in a sense. We've got the tomato, which we know. We've got the
manteca colorada.
Manteca colorada. It's a byproduct of the pork dish of Vejer. And this, we've got pate, right?
This is their homemade pate of jamon.
Okay, pork.
So these are off the ends, scrapings off the bone of the jamon, mixed with eggs, cream and milk, and baked in the oven.
I mean, this is something I know, but I think it's nice to show people how to do this properly, right? Because this is typical throughout all of Spain, this breakfast. This is one we know. Simple bread, olive oil. They always give you too much. We've got 4 olive oils here.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Before I start drowning in pork fat, this is my little...
Can you pass me a napkin?
This is my protective layer. Okay.
The tomatoes are so good.
Oh, yeah. So good. Just so simple, and it's so good. And you can order that pretty much everywhere, and you'll get it. And it's a wonderful start to the day.
This is manteca colorada.
So the little bits of pork fat that drift to the bottom when you're making this local dish.
Pork, it comes off the loin of pork. Loin of pork is cooked in the Iberian pork fat with dried red peppers, the meat of the dried red peppers, wild oregano that's local, salt and garlic.
So bits of pork in there, the kind of the congealed pork fat. All right. Oh wow. And it's not overpowering strong, but there's wonderful flavor. You can taste the oregano. You can taste a little bit of the pepper. It tastes like pork, but then with this lovely lard over it. There's no dairy herds down here.
No, we have no dairy herds.
No milk traditionally, or butter, or...
No butter, no milk. We have long life milk.
Yeah.
Butter comes from the north. Fresh milk now is coming from the north.
Because I think some people watching this are like, oh my God, you're eating pork fat. But in the same way somebody would spread butter on their bread, it's their version of that fat.
Exactly.
It's the fat. You know, you had pigs, you could get all these products from it, but you didn't have milking cows, so you got to get your fat somewhere, right?
Pate de jamón ibérico.
Okay, Iberian ham pate. Oh, look at that! Oh my God. Oh wow, that is so good. It is. It's like a kind of a fresh pate, very porky. So everything we're having here, well, the thurrapa, the manteca colorada, it's also called thurrapa, the pate, all homemade right here.
All homemade.
You only get this version of it, this recipe or whatever it is in this
They
place.
make their own.
I love it. I mean, and we're talking about, pit stop, roadside inn, and you're having homemade pate, and that is what Spanish roadside inns are like. I mean, it's what I love. About driving in this country, that you're going to eat well on the road.
Yeah, and at 12 o'clock they stop serving it.
Yeah.
So you can't get it the rest of the day.
No manteca corolla for you. So, Vejer. I've been here once before, a long time ago, but I didn't sort of think about it as much in a gastronomic context. So what's so special about this town from a food perspective? Why is it known as like a gastronomic destination?
It has sort of like a hidden gastronomy that's not obvious unless you know it's there.
Okay, yeah.
The location of Vejer, with the land, the retinto beef, the sea with the tuna fish, all the anchovies, the cephalopods,
the pigs,
the pigs that come from just a little bit further north.
Yeah.
And the olive oil.
Yeah.
And people that just love food.
Yeah.
And they cook. They love to cook and they love to feed. And they have amazing vegetables and fruit.
In the middle of this perfect kind of hilltop, pristine white village on a hill.
And there's also the history of the Moors living here.
Yeah.
And even though 1492 Isabella and Ferdinand expelled everything, some cumin seeds were hidden away somewhere.
Yeah.
So people throw in a bit of cumin here and there. And I love that.
After a hearty local breakfast, we drive up the hill towards the whitewashed homes of Vejer. Our first stop, Annie introduces me to her local butcher, the famous Paco Melero. Paco is a legend in this Andalusian town. He's not just a butcher, he's an entrepreneur and a culinary artist. One moment he's serving locals buying their weekly meat, and the next he's crafting traditional Vejer cured meats and delicacies. He's particularly excited for us to try his lightly cured Iberian pork jowl, which he slices thin and rolls over a short breadstick.
Oh wow. Pure fat, but just the most delicious.
You can taste the jamon.
Yeah, it is. It's like this sort of velvety, fatty slice of jamon, but not in an overly anxious way. What I love is we walked in here and already he's showing us his products, and you see that pride for his gastronomy and the fact that it's through his passion that he's maintaining the traditions, right?
And people travel from far and wide to buy his preserved pork products.
Okay.
He will even ship them to you.
Really?
Yeah, he's got a little shipping service.
Todo eso es lo que nosotros no queremos que se pierda. Es la tradición del pueblo. Esto viene de las matanzas antiguas. En las matanzas antiguas que había antiguamente en el pueblo, me acuerdo que la gente cuando yo era un chiquillo iban por la calle y te vendían el tocino, te vendían la manteca. Y eso venía todo de las matanzas caseras. Y eso es lo que nosotros los carniceros hemos puesto en valor.
Paco's pork products have fallen into the hands of many famous people, helping spread the name of Vejer and his butcher shop far and wide.
He's obviously good at the business side of it, and it makes me think that, now when a lot of neighborhood, butchers, fishmongers, markets are starting to struggle a little bit because of changing buying habits in Spain, people go to the supermarket more, that his passion and his way of doing it is kind of like a way forward. You have to kind of be a little bit of an entrepreneur nowadays too.
Paco's business is a family affair.
This shop previously was his uncle's shop.
Okay, yeah.
And so many of his recipes will have been in the family for hundreds of years.
Every day they make a different delicacy, and today Paco's brother and son are making blood sausage in a small workshop alongside.
Y aquí tenemos en la mezcla.
Esta es la base.
Wow. Sangre de cerdo.
Esto lleva ajo,
Sí,
ajo, orégano.
Sí.
Y después lleva lo que es la especie de la morcilla. Cógele eso, Raúl.
A jar alongside contains the spices that go into the blood sausage: clove, peppercorn, coriander seed, anise seed, cumin, and nutmeg. And Manolo suggests I try my hand at filling a little blood sausage.
Pretty strong. It doesn't break, you know, this. You can add this to your tours, Annie. Make your own blood sausage.
Esto salta, tú pon la mano aquí,
Sí.
pero deja que vaya corriendo.
Vale. Uy, Dios.
No, no, sí, espérate.
Ah, ahí está.
Para,
¡Uy!
para.
Para.
Date aquí. Date aquí.
He's kicking me out now. I'm done. I'd heard about this, and Annie, so what is this? It's not a bunch of cigarettes around here.
It looks like a bunch of cigarettes. Now, for birthdays, rather than having a sugary cake, you can get a preserved pork cake.
So a cake of all pork products.
Yes.
No sugar.
At the center of this pork cake is lomo en manteca, a culinary treasure in Vejer. The dish features herby pork loins sealed in a deep orange pepper-infused lard. It's not just a local favorite warmed and melted into sandwiches. It's a symbol of the town's rich gastronomic heritage.
Here we have International Day of Lomo Manteca.
It's so important, this lomo en manteca dish, that they've got the street named after it, and they've got the International Day of Lomo en Manteca.
Paco even lets me cut and taste a fresh batch.
Y esta es la bandejita que ya es
Ah,
cortada.
vale, ya
Y ya
cortado.
va presentado. Hace filetito. Yo, Pepe. Sí, sin problema,
Qué
Pepe.
bien.
Está muy bien cortado.
Sí, ¿no?
Está muy bien cortado.
I've got a job as a carnicero in Vejer if YouTube doesn't work, this YouTube game doesn't work out. But what I find fascinating about this is that, you know, before there was refrigeration, people had to find ways to make their products last. So you kill your pig, the matanza, which we have an image of up here, the traditional pig slaughter, and you got all these products, and you cure the jamon, the hind legs, and salt. And this is just another way of making the loin last by covering it in its own fat, cooking it, and then it will keep.
La manteca colorada con el lomo es un lujo, vamos. Sí, qué arte. Así mismo. Ha faltado un vinito, Ani.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Because loin, actually something Annie was explaining to me, is naturally a drier cut. So it also, with having this pork fat on it, which has this flavor from what it's been cooked in, just makes it more moist. And I can imagine putting this in the microwave or the oven in a sandwich and letting it melt. Be incredible.
Muchas gracias.
Sí, venga, gracias.
And on we go to our next stop. The local market has transformed into a kind of gastronomic food hall featuring key local products served simply and often with a glass of wine.
So this is traditionally Mercado de Bastos.
Okay.
Every little town
Yeah.
in Andalusia has a Mercado de Bastos.
Just the traditional market where you do your shopping.
Butchers, fishmongers, fruit, veg, spices.
Yeah.
But because people are struggling to park these days,
Yeah.
we only have 2 fruit and veg stalls, 1 butcher,
Okay.
and the occasional fish.
Annie suggests we order a couple of dishes from her friend Guillermo, a pork loin delicacy, and razor-thin slices of carpaccio from the local retinto beef.
Guys, just briefly, if you've ever thought of moving to Spain or even wondered if it's possible, I offer a whole bunch of free webinars, free downloads, and courses that help people successfully move to Spain without undue stress and costly mistakes. So down in the description below, I'll put some links to the various things I offer so you can check those out. And maybe as a first step, why not sign up for my free weekly newsletter so I can keep you up to date with everything I'm offering. I'll put a QR code somewhere down below so you can scan that, go to the subscribe page for the newsletter, and start receiving updates from me about moving to Spain. All right, let's get back to the video. Okay, so we're starting with sherry, right?
We are.
And sherry is so misunderstood in Spain because so often people think of sweet, sickly sherry. And there is sweet sherry, but most sherry in Spain is a dry white wine, perfect for a hot day like this,
Exactly,
right?
especially when it's super chilled like
Yeah.
this. But sherry's a generic term for
Yeah.
8 different types.
Yeah.
Fortified wine from
Yeah.
this specific area in Spain.
That's true.
Anything outside the sherry triangle cannot be called sherry. It has to come from the sherry triangle.
does.
In not just in Spain, but in Cádiz.
Yeah, in
the
this
province
area.
of Cádiz.
If it's not from that little part of Spain, it's not legally sherry.
Oh.
And most of it's dry and crisp like this. Should we try it?
Well, I'm ahead of you there, I'm afraid.
Ooh. The sharpness of it, kind of like just penetrated, you know? There's a thirst quenching quality that just white wine doesn't have.
Absolutely not. And what it makes you is hungry.
Hungry.
It gets the digestive
So what have we
juices
got?
going.
What do we got?
So here we've got lomo d'orzo,
Yeah.
which is loin of pork cooked with herbs around the as a crust, fine herbs, and then it's sliced and preserved in olive oil. We have
what is
it's
Pork belly.
pancetta, and he warms it under the grill, so it's slightly melted. And oh my God, it's true country bread.
And it's soaked up with the juice from I'm going, I can't stop. Oh my God. Oh. You know, the pork loin, which sometimes you've mentioned can be a dry cut. And so adding that thin veil of pancetta, of pork belly on top, it brings that moisture and the fat that it needs. Carpaccio of a local beef, extra virgin olive oil, and a grated local goat's cheese. I mean, so insane. So delicious. So delicate, but
He's been producing this for years.
yeah.
He never slips on quality, seasoning.
Ay, mira, tenemos un regalo.
Oh no.
Ay, muchísimas gracias. Pues muchas gracias.
Son de aquí de Barbate.
De Barbate.
¿Vale? Y esto es hecho casero por nosotros.
Here we've got from Inma, we've got boquerones in vinagre, anchovies from here in Barbate that have been slightly pickled in vinegar and vinagre, aceite y ajo, and garlic. Sometimes you only get the half, but this is the full filleted fish, and they make them themselves. Tan bueno. Me encanta. You know, when you look out over Vejer and you see the Atlantic. Well, you see the Atlantic, right? You see
The Atlantic meets the Mediterranean.
the Mediterranean, the Strait of
The
Gibraltar.
Strait,
And you see the land and you see the forest and you think of that mari montaña, that's what we would call surf and turf, which sounds very kind of crass version of saying it, but the mountain and the sea, and they come together. You can have fresh raw beef. You've got these cured pork and cooked porks, fresh seafood, all on your tray. You've got wine from the region, you know, the full spread.
Where there is great food, there is always great wine, because they make a wine to go with the food.
Yeah.
That's why Fino, Manzanilla, in fact, all sherries have a dish, a local dish that they just marry with so well.
While so far we've been eating so much pork, these local, lightly pickled fresh anchovies point to another gastronomic world in Vejer, seafood.
So come and have a look at this. Just one of my favourite views that I could look at for hours across the Strait of Gibraltar towards Morocco.
Water. Okay, so we can just see it in the haze, Morocco there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it shows you how close to the sea we are, and that the tuna is such an important part of the produce here.
That was taken up here by donkeys.
Really?
Tuna, yeah.
The star ingredient in this town is bluefin tuna. Japanese chefs have been coming here to source the region's exceptional tuna for decades, and in return, Vejer chefs have picked up Japanese cooking techniques, creating sushi and sashimi that celebrate this local fish.
We're in southern Spain on a food tour of Cadiz, and we're eating sushi.
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on.
The bluefin tuna has been a dish of this area for centuries because they move from the depths of the cold Atlantic every spring into the Mediterranean to spawn.
Before we try, I do have a question, because obviously bluefin tuna is endangered, but I know the way that this is caught.
No longer.
No longer.
It's come off the endangered.
Really?
Yeah.
And the way this is caught is using an ancient, supposedly sustainable fishing
Totally
technique
sustainable.
called the almadraba, right? So how does that almadraba work?
So the almadraba is a series of nets with huge apertures.
Yeah.
So the big 200 kilo tuna gets trapped.
Yeah.
But the smaller ones swim through to spawn.
Are you going for a bit of soy?
I'm going for a bit of soy.
Okay, go on. I mean, just perfect tuna. Why does it taste so good?
So bluefin tuna lives in the depths of the cold Atlantic.
Okay.
And it builds up blubber to keep warm.
Okay.
Whereas yellowfin tuna live in warm water.
Okay.
so they don't have this blubber.
So it has the fat, which is the flavor.
The fat.
I'm going to try this one, maki, right? I'm going to try this tataki. Lightly grilled on the outside. I'm going to take 2 bits.
It's a multi-million euro industry
Yeah.
in Barbati, the preservation of tuna, bluefin and yellowfin. All year round, they are canning,
Oh, it's so good. It's so
drying.
pure. You know, I'm sort of blown away by Vejer, having been here. And I knew, you know, we've spoken, I knew about the gastronomy of this place, but, you know, we're having this incredible local beef, this fresh, raw tuna, some of the best tuna in the world. It's this wonderful blend of all these different things.
It's all very fresh,
Very clean,
and good,
fresh.
clean food.
Next, we hit the Restaurante Central, a family-run restaurant known for local dishes. We're here specifically for a steak made from the region's famous retinto beef, and yes, some vegetables.
Así que es un restaurante familiar.
Familiar, ya llevamos 16 años en Vejer y una maravilla.
Qué bien, qué bien. ¿Y
Disfrutando.
qué se destaca de
Bueno, las carnes de retinto, el pescado,
Sí.
una maravilla. Y las verduras,
Sí, ¿no?
una verdura magnífica.
Sí, hay un poquito de todo.
Gracias.
Okay, so I think the first thing, Annie, is we're having a slightly different sherry with this lunch. We're having a manzanilla.
We're having a manzanilla.
Like the fino we had, but from Sanlúcar de Barrameda.
Exactly.
Specific. Cheers.
Salud.
Cheers. Wonderful to be here.
Pairs with every single one of these dishes we have. This is a very typical little, not a mousse, but a mousse
Tapa.
bouche, tapa, little
Yeah.
tapa,
Yeah.
that restaurants will bring you when you sit down.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's beetroot, sometimes it's potatoes, but these are carrots, aliñadas. Marinated it in some oil, garlic, vinegar, lots of dried oregano.
Oh, wonderful. Ooh, there's vinegar in there as well.
Vinegar.
With some
olive oil.
sharpness. The oregano again. And you'll be pleased that you can get vegetables in Vejer, in Spain. It's not all going to be, you know, cured pork fat.
But sometimes they're not always on the menu.
Yeah.
They invite you to them.
You can't order them. You got to be lucky to be given them. So these aren't fresh artichokes. These
No,
are preserved.
preserved.
I've never had a grilled preserved artichoke. I love artichokes. Oh wow! Crushed potatoes with parsley. Yeah.
Oh, there's, of course, the potatoes here are
From Sanlúcar de Barrameda.
from Sanlúcar de Barrameda. They also grow them locally here.
Oh, garlicky parsley. Those potatoes. It's the best mashed potatoes I've ever had. Sorry, Mum.
So matrimonio is the marriage of two types of anchovy: the pickled
Pickled
and the preserved.
and the preserved, and together, both beautiful, both wonderful, but in the same dish. And this looks like pisto that's on
Pisto
bread.
and a little bit of alioli.
Anchovy, slightly salty. The boqueron, the vinegary anchovy, the sweet pisto, the sweet alioli.
Tenemos aquí el solomillo de retinto,
Uy, qué bien.
la ternera autóctona de la zona.
tiene. Así que el retinto.
Para compartir, que viene trinchadito, ¿vale?
Qué
Su punto.
Uy, qué bien. Lo dejamos así bonito para la cámara y
Perfecto.
Salvador. Así que retinto, una raza autóctona de la
Raza
zona. ¿no?
autóctona, podéis ver por aquí por los campos, en la playa, en Bolonia, en Zara de los Atunes, esas vacas morenas del sol. ¿eh?
That's what a steak should look like in Spain. Rare, I mean, look, everybody can have their steak how they like it, but rare on the inside, charred on the outside, just these salt flakes. That is a perfect Spanish style way of serving steak. Oh, yes. And when you have a wonderful piece of meat in Spain, you don't need a lot, you know? If you've got other dishes, you could share this with 4 people. And you have, 3 or 4 slices each, and that's all you need.
Yeah, we got
Annie's
to.
feeding Josh behind the camera.
Where's his
Come on, look at me.
incoming,
Incoming.
incoming, incoming,
That was not a flattering angle. That's Josh's moment of glory.
Oh my goodness.
incoming.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, don't touch, you can't
Don't touch.
touch.
You're not allowed to touch it. The camera's expensive, Josh. It's incredible, huh?
Only in Vejer would you find a tavern named after the famous pork loin in Iberian pork fat. This bar, which opened just a few months before my visit, specializes in traditional pork meats, all cured and prepared the old-fashioned way. With Annie's help, we order a selection of different delicacies. Antonio brings out a tray of cuts, all created and prepared by different local butchers whose names are listed on the menu, and each uniquely flavored and spiced.
So these are chicharrones. Well, let me try it first and see if I can. Oh my God. I mean, it just tastes the most delicious pork with a strong lemon. It's so juicy. So I've got the pork loin here and the fat with the blood, with the morcilla, the blood sausage. You know, you think of like cured meats as tasting like kind of salami or chorizo, but clove, what did you say, nutmeg as well? Oh my God, it's delicious.
Almost like mixed spice.
Yeah.
Tastes quite crispy.
Why is this white?
Butifarra is a boiled sausage.
This is boiled
There's
pork
no
sausage.
paprika in it.
So it's just the natural color.
Just the natural colour. But there's garlic in it. You taste the garlic.
Oh yeah, you can really taste the garlic. Okay, so what have we got next coming up?
So this is the longanita. Longanita is a chorizo, but made with vinegar, paprika,
Longanita.
black pepper.
Huge chunks of black pepper.
La carne al almuerzo,
Así que aquí
el
tenemos...
olorcito que echa es impresionante, el pimentón, las especies, lo que es la manteca colorada aquí.
Sí.
Fat from the Iberian pig that's had the eyes of acorns.
Yeah.
That's delicious.
What I'm fascinated by is all the different spices that are in all these different cured meats and dishes.
Throwback to the Moors.
A throwback to the Moors.
The Moors brought cumin, and they also brought, apart from spices, the honey, the aubergines, the citrus fruits, the pomegranates.
So we've got these pork dishes, which obviously Spain's Muslim inhabitants didn't eat at all, and yet the modern version of it, or what we've inherited, is the pork cured with these spices that the Moors brought, which is just the wonderful story of Spain through its gastronomy. And what I love about the history is once you know the history, you can start to identify these things and see the inheritance and how it's all mixed together. All right, bottoms up. We need to keep going with a lot to eat today.
Before food, my first love was history. As we walked the streets of Vejer, the town's history is palpable. Even Vejer's full name, Vejer de la Frontera, or Vejer of the Border, comes from a time when this town, and others like Jerez de la Frontera or Arcos de la Frontera, marked the border between Christian and Muslim Spain.
So this is Calle Trafalgar,
Trafalgar, right?
named to commemorate the battle.
It's funny that word, Trafalgar, and this plaque we just see up here. So what I find fascinating, Annie, is how the word Trafalgar we think of as such an English word, Trafalgar Square, you know, but it's a place in Spain. It's a cape, Cabo Trafalgar, where the battle took place.
On the 21st of October, 1805.
And what this plaque is saying out here, it looks like, is that it's commemorating people from this village that went to help the victims.
Regardless of
which side they
nationality.
were on.
Yeah, they helped them all.
I guess who were, you know, sinking in the ships and washed ashore.
It was the storm after the battle that killed more people than the actual battle.
My history juices are going, as you can see, Annie, so get me out of here. I need to
more
I need
food.
to keep walking. Yeah, more food. Something I want to show you guys, is this. I remember this from last time I was in Vejer. This traditional outfit, cobijada, no?
Cobijada.
Cobijada, and you see the woman wearing this robe and just showing one eye. My first thought was this must be something from the Moorish influence, right? Because it almost looks like a burqa. But I was reading an article the other day that says, no, this is actually a traditional outfit that came from Castile, from the north of Spain. So when the Moors were effectively at the end of the Reconquest, were kicked out of this area, people were brought from the north to repopulate what became kind of just empty land, repopulate the villages. And one of the things they brought was this traditional Castilian outfit of the woman kind of covering herself, just showing one eye. You see it today or not at all?
You see it on ceremonial occasions.
Yeah.
It's like Vejer's fiesta that's starting in the summer for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You have the queen, who's
Yeah.
a teenager,
Yeah.
and all her princesses, and they will all be dressed in this.
Annie heads home to prepare her kitchen for our cooking session later, and I head to the famous Hotel La Casa del Khalifa to meet its owner James. Drawn to this part of the world years ago for windsurfing, James turned an old building into a beautiful hotel with clear Moroccan influences.
Because there was really nowhere to stay,
Yeah.
and I owned a house in the Plaza,
Yeah.
because it was very cheap back then.
Yeah.
And so gradually I developed that, and
Yeah.
it started off with just rooms in my house.
Yeah.
Then it became 8 bedrooms,
Yeah.
and then it became 12 bedrooms. Then it became 12 bedrooms and a restaurant, and then it became 20 bedrooms. Now I think we've got 34 bedrooms.
Wow.
The hotel feels like a village within a village, with houses stuck together like blocks, full of winding passages and opening out to gorgeous rooftops with stunning views.
It's like a resort. It's not just rooms stuck together. It's these little streets. So we're going to do a little route through so I can just show you what this place is like. Literally, this is where I want to stay next time I'm here. This feels like you're in a street, but as I say, this is connecting all the different rooms.
The hotel's restaurant is El Jardín del Khalifa, and James has ordered me a selection of his most famous dishes to try.
These dishes that we produce,
Yeah.
we try and produce everything as authentic as possible. We don't
Sure.
really go in for inventing
Okay,
new dishes.
okay.
So here we've got a traditional baba ganoush.
Okay.
And the baba ganoush is smoked aubergines, very easy
right.
to make. Aubergines directly on an open flame. Then you mix them up with tahini, lemon juice, a bit of yogurt, and that's what you get. And you can mix around with the lemon as much as you want. It's got a very
That's
smoky
wonderful.
taste.
I've had baba ganoush a few times, but not that smoky.
We call this a Marrakesh salad.
Okay.
Absolute classic. You get this everywhere in Morocco.
Okay.
And it's basically green peppers, tomatoes, onion, chopped up, quite
Yeah.
fine, bit of cumin in,
Okay.
lemon juice, that's it, nothing else.
Oh yeah. And it's interesting how, cumin here in this food that you're bringing from Morocco, but at the same time you see the memory of the Moors in the cumin that's in some of the embutidos and some of the
Absolutely.
cured sausages.
Well,
so
this dish alone, this picadillo, is an absolute classic that you'll find
in Spain you will
Spain.
get this. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't put the cumin in. Here we have classic falafel.
Okay.
But we make these a little bit differently.
Okay.
Falafel is chickpeas and parsley, deep fried. You have a thing in Morocco called mutabal, which is a little bit different to this.
Yeah.
Mutabal, they wouldn't add the tahini
Okay.
or the yogurt.
Delicious. I realize I've been having the wrong falafel all my life.
No, we make
I've been
them
having the one from the
ourselves.
kebab shop.
Yeah, but the kebab shop, they buy in the falafel ready-made. It comes from some factory in Germany
Yeah.
or somewhere. God knows where
so
they make
good.
it. And this is the absolute classic Lebanese falafel.
Okay.
Sorry, tabbouleh.
Tabbouleh.
The biggest mistake you find in tabbouleh, especially in Spain,
Yeah.
I've seen it in a few places now, is that it doesn't have anywhere near mint or parsley in it. And you'll often find that the places don't know how to make it. They just add loads of bulgur wheat, and you don't have any.
I've always
of the
seen
joy.
tabbouleh more as bulgur wheat than the other
No,
stuff.
no, that's
Yeah.
the way it's done here. But it isn't the correct way. This is the Middle Eastern recipe.
And now I know what this is. This is hummus,
So
correct?
hummus, everybody knows what hummus is, but of course hummus, the quality of the chickpeas and the quality of the tahini makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Tahini is very expensive, so a lot of people don't use enough. Because you can get it the right consistency. Some people like it a bit coarser, some people like it,
Yeah.
some people
No,
like it
it's-
very smooth.
It's got a beautiful, smooth texture.
And then we can go to the berenjenas Aleppo.
This looks incredible.
Yeah, okay, so berenjenas, you peel the aubergine,
Yeah.
put it in a frying pan, a little bit of olive oil, add in some tomato and a lot of cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
This is what makes this dish. You should notice the cinnamon in there. It's obviously got pine nuts.
Oh wow. I've never had that. I've never had
No.
eggplant with cinnamon like
Well,
that.
there you go. And then moving on,
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are little parcels of wadka pastry. We make our own pastry here. It's a very
Yeah.
fine pastry.
Yeah.
Like a filo,
Yeah.
but even finer. than
Okay.
filo. It's wrapped up. We have labneh, which
Yeah.
is a Middle Eastern cheese, kind of sour cheese.
Okay.
With walnuts.
right.
Making me hungry.
Yeah. Eat, please.
Okay, I'm gonna have
God,
some
please. Yeah. I should have said sorry. When somebody works in a restaurant, you wrongly think they've been eating all day. You realise they haven't had a chance to eat. They usually skip lunch.
That's good.
Oh wow. Beautiful sour labneh and the walnuts. Bit of crunch from the walnuts. Now I know we have one more dish coming. Beautiful lamb. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
It slides off perfectly. Oh yeah. It's delicious.
Yeah? Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
The spices.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Wonderful combination of flavors, and the lamb.
Be careful with that. That's the harissa.
Okay. Harissa.
So the harissa, we can never guarantee quite how hot it's going to be because we make it ourselves. We make it by hand.
See that, Josh?
And it is literally the chef who happens to be on service at that particular time will make it. And each have their own way of blending it.
We'll see how hot the chef likes it today. Pretty hot. I can feel it coming on.
You can feel it
Pour the
coming
tea.
There's one gastronomic experience in Vejer I can't miss. Cooking with Annie B.
We're going to do 3 dishes.
Yeah.
She's been running her cooking courses and gastronomic adventures for years from her magical home Casa Alegre.
This is beautiful.
I'll link her website below, and I highly recommend booking something with her. Today, she's taking me under her wing to prepare some local specialties. Her simple but stunningly delicious store-cupboard tuna salad.
Oh, look at those colors.
A spiced carrot salad with toasted cumin seeds, and a sticky citrus almond and olive oil cake.
Yeah, look at that.
As well as a selection of tapas.
Tuna loin
Yeah,
that's been air dried, salted, like the jamon of the sea, it's often called.
exactly.
For the better part of an hour, Annie guides me through the creation of these simple but delicious dishes.
You know exactly what you're doing with the parsley.
I'm glad you said that.
And for this very special moment, I've invited some very special guests.
Annie, I'm going to let in our special guests. Okay. Am I allowed to open your door? Welcome. Oi. Come on, sweetheart. My daughter, Lucia.
Hey.
Yoly, who's been following in our footsteps.
Pretty tired.
Everybody's been saying, where's Yoly the whole time? So,
Hello.
And lunch at Annie B's is always on her rooftop terrace with views of the Mediterranean and the whitewashed homes of Vejer all around.
cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.
Thank you guys for cooking, spending the whole,
Thank you for
the whole
joining
weekend
us.
for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my deliciousness.
Cheers.
Thank you.
So the mojama is beautiful with olive oil, salt cured tuna. We haven't had this yet. Look, it's dripping off the oil. Local anchovy. I'm sure 99% of people watching this have never tried an anchovy on a slice of cheese. You know, it's kind of a magical combination.
Yeah, I've rarely done it actually.
Yeah, even
A
Yoly's
couple of
rarely
times.
done it, you know. Oh, it's just a salty, beautiful goodness.
Isn't it?
It actually kind of like acquires a bit of like a meaty, more like meat, you know, sort of vibe, the anchovy with the cheese. Oh, it's beautiful.
The cake I made.
Yeah,
I've never made a cake that looks as incredible as this.
So you actually made it, or you?
Yeah, I made it.
Yeah,
I mean, Annie told me everything.
I wasn't there to see it. Yeah.
Moist. It's very moist. Alright. Oh wow.
Wow. This is incredible.
Guys, go onto Annie's website and get the recipe for this, and then come and cook it in her presence. It'll always taste better. Okay guys, so as you can see, Vejer is just a gastronomic wonderland, and we've had such a delicious day. Probably the most delicious day I've ever had, and I've had a lot of delicious days. So I want to thank you, Annie.
Well, thank you guys for
this
coming.
day.
I wanted you to visit for years.
Guys, come and book an experience, a cooking experience, a tour with Annie. I mean, it's just wonderful. As you can see, she knows everyone. And if you want to keep exploring this part of Spain, Cádiz, which is just wonderful, I've got a playlist appearing up here, which has a couple of videos you can check out where we explore the main city, Cádiz, the food, the history. It's amazing. Our favorite part of Spain. So we'll see you over there. Hasta luego, and we'll see you in Spain. Ciao.